Hello everyone, and welcome to another Tim Rex episode. Before anyone asks, yes, the Incredibles episode is coming next week. I have tons of work to do this week since school is wrapping up, so I figured I'd focus on creating a shorter video. Anyways, as we all know, this past weekend came the release of the new Marvel movie, Avengers Infinity War, the third Avengers movie, and the 19th adventure in the cinematic universe. This is crazy, 19 movies! And better yet, this June marks the 10th anniversary of the MCU. It's already been 10 years since the release of Iron Man in 2008, where they all blew our minds with that first post-credit scene. Wow, I remember being a youngling and walking into the theater of Iron Man. Gosh, I'm old. In 2012, already 6 years ago, the mysterious bigger bad pulling the strings, Thanos, was introduced in the Avengers post-credit scene. For the past 6 years, tension has been building up as we nervously anticipated his visit to Earth. Now that Thanos has finally arrived, what the entire MCU has been building up to has finally come. Is it as amazing as we hoped? Is Avengers Infinity War worth the hype? Let's take a look. Many of those who've already watched it are probably yelling at the screen, "Of course it's worth the hype. Tim Rex, what the heck are you talking about?" Honestly, the film has its ups and downs. Let's not pretend it's perfect. Nothing is. But there are still many things that I did enjoy. Probably the biggest win in my opinion is how daring Marvel gets here. I expected high stakes, so a high body count seems inevitable. But I was not expecting this. Immediately, half of the Asgardians are wiped out while on their getaway ship from Ragnarok. Well, we don't really care about these people, so why does it matter? Well, Loki gets strangled on screen. Off the bat, the movie kills one of the most recognizable characters in the MCU. The bloodshed doesn't stop with Loki, of course, because Gamora dies too. Wow. Also, Vision dies, but let's be honest, we all knew his brain will be snapped off and clicked into the gauntlet. Those deaths are all fine and dandy, but of course I can't go without mentioning that ending. Oh man, they finally did it. A comic book movie actually has the guts to have the villain win. Thanos gets all 6 stones, snaps his fingers, and wipes out half the population of the universe. Okay, I know there's gonna be a follow-up movie in which the remaining Avengers reverse time or something and save the universe, but as for now, this is epic. If all else failed in Infinity War, at least everyone would remember how sad that ending was. It's most of the Phase 2 and up heroes who disappear, so I wasn't too attached. Except for Spider-Man, that was ridiculously sad. Oh god, no, stop. I can't, that was too much. Now, the original Avengers, Nebula, and Rocket have to save all the new guys. I love this because we all got hooked on the MCU with just this comparatively small roster of heroes. Now, 6 years later, there's an entire universe full of characters we know and love. Like, who would have guessed that I would actually care about Doctor Strange or Black Panther? Now, the process has to be repeated. The old has to pave the way for the new once again. I hope that Loki and Gamora aren't brought back too. Their deaths brought some seriously high stakes, and added a lot of weight to the film. Bringing them back will just diminish that, so I hope they don't do it. And of course, I have to mention that villain, Thanos. We all know that Marvel's had a long reoccurring problem with writing good villains, but thankfully, this is not another example. It could have been so easy to write Thanos as just another cookie cutter, "Oh, I just want to take over the world" kind of villain like Justice League Steppenwolf. Ugh. Thank God Infinity War isn't like that. Thanos is actually down to earth, loving, and convinced that he's doing the right thing. He understands that the resources of the universe are limited and that there's not enough to go around. Eliminating half the population, he believes, would bring prosperity to the universe. Thanos believes that this is the right thing to do, but he's the only one willing to do all that is necessary to fight injustice. Okay, sorry Infinity War, but you're not Batman Begins good. Just giving you a reality check there. Thanos is so convinced that this is necessary that he's willing to sacrifice the only person he's ever loved, Gamora, to achieve this end. You totally see the heartbreak in this guy's eyes. The CGI Thanos and Josh Brolin's voice totally sell it. Aside from the ending, I think this will be the scene that we all remember. Finally, once Thanos snaps his fingers and achieves his ideal universe, you can see that he's content. Thanos doesn't want power or to enslave the human race. just to bring prosperity to the galaxy. Once he achieves that, he just lives peacefully in a house on a field. Of all people, he reminds me of Cincinnatus. Yes, the guy the city's named after. He was a Roman farmer chosen to be the emergency dictator of Rome to stop a serious threat. Cincinnatus defeats the opponents in 2 weeks, resigns as dictator, and goes back to his farm. Thanos is the same way. He sees anguish around him, takes power, eliminates the problem, and goes back to enjoy his life. Good job on this one, Marvel. Also, of course, are the action scenes. I didn't find any one particular moment amazing while in the theater, but you'll remain entertained throughout. The humor in this one isn't the funniest ever, but there are certainly some good laughs to be had. My favorite being when Tony calls, yeah, I googled his name, Ebony Maw, Squidward. I just died. Maybe there are a couple of other good moments with Drax, but nothing too memorable. Of course, there's always the joy of seeing all these larger-than-life characters interacting on screen. Unless you're an Ant-Man or Hawkeye fan, odds are you won't be disappointed. I'm sure there are tons of Marvel fans who absolutely love Infinity War, but you have to be honest with yourself and realize that there are a few major gripes to be had. My first complaint is the characters. Infinity War seems to turn some of them back in time and forgets their previous arcs. The biggest example is Spider-Man, or should I say Spider-Boy, or the Spiderling instead, because he's exactly the same as he was in Civil War. Peter and Tony act as if Homecoming never happened. Homecoming was Peter's coming-of-age story, where he proved that he doesn't need to rely on Tony or some special suit, but can handle large problems on his own. Yeah, the Vulture wasn't Galactus or anything, but he was a start. In Infinity War, Stark still bosses Spidey around, and Spidey still seems to idolize Stark. They still seem to have that overly protective parent and naughty child relationship. Also, there's Thor. He gets an entire subplot with Rocket and Groot that goes on for too long, where he has to forge the axe Stormbreaker to fight Thanos with. A lot of time is devoted to this, but I'm just sitting there in the theater shaking my head. Didn't we just go through Ragnarok? Didn't Thor just have to learn that he isn't just a hammer and a nice set of biceps? As Odin put it, he's not Thor, god of hammers. No, this is Thor, god of thunder. His power isn't defined by having a special weapon at hand. We saw this already. After the regressing characters, I still found myself annoyed by some of them. Maybe this is just a personal thing, but I never found the Guardians of the Galaxy all that great. Yeah, the first one was cool, and you have to give Marvel props for turning these nobodies into a household name overnight. But once the sequel came around, I got pretty tired of their shtick fast. Star-Lord especially overstays his welcome here. How long can someone stay this immature? Literally half of the universe gets wiped out because this man-baby has no self-control at all. However, I do give him credit for trying to shoot Gamora. One thing this movie does well is subverting expectations. Usually, the hero is too much of a wimp to kill and do all that is necessary, but hey, he's man enough to shoot when he has to. Groot 2 is the MCU's equivalent to Ewoks at this point. Thankfully, both of these irritants are gone. One more minor thing about the characters, how come every Avengers sequel has to throw in a random romance that wasn't there before? In Age of Ultron, it was Romanoff and Banner. Here, it's Vision and Wanda. I know the two were close before, but I saw it as a child-guardian relationship, like the big daddy and little sister. There was never a hint of romance in Civil War. So, she falls in love with a robot? Now, aside from the characters, the story still feels jumpy, and that's to be expected, but bouncing from group to group while simultaneously being introduced to new settings does prevent a level of engagement. I understand that this is necessary with a cast and adventure this big, but understanding why there's a problem doesn't fix the problem. My last gripe is that there are still those overused cliches, such as the savior who comes out of nowhere when all hope seems lost, fighting an army of faceless henchmen during the climactic battle, and the love interest who gets kidnapped. Can we, not keep repeating all these tropes for once? I may have gotten a little heated by some of the film's flaws, but I should be clear, I certainly did enjoy Infinity War. Does it have its flaws? Of course, but I think most audiences will like it. And of course, fans of the MCU will go nuts for it. Overall, is Avengers Infinity War worth all the hype? I'd say, yeah. We came here to see Thanos wreck butt, and that's what we got. He was such a good villain, and easily one of the MCU's best. Does it blow you away? See what I did there? No, it doesn't. It's not Winter Soldier good or anything like that, but I do credit it for its brave cliffhanger ending, awesome villain, subverting expectations, and overall epicness. On the other hand, there are some major problems that prevent it from being one of those top-level comic book movies, but it's certainly more than made up for overall. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to please leave a like and subscribe. See you next week.